talk about our Week 8 or Week 9 Rapid 5 contest. We've got 5 big games. Got Baylor at 13 WVU. That's a Thursday night game. 18 Iowa at 17 Penn State. And Purdue, who just had the biggest win in school history, is at Michigan State. Number 20 Wisconsin in the semifinal, I guess you could call it, of the Big Ten East Championship. Big Ten West Championship is at Northwestern, and number 12 Kentucky is at Missouri, and you can hear Florida screaming all the way from Jacksonville on that. But our first game, let's talk about Baylor is going to number 13 West Virginia. The Mountaineers are coming off a bye after 2 weeks ago. They played Iowa State, and it did not go well out there. Now, West Virginia's won the last 2, and I'm going to tell you, Baylor, and they can sneak up on some folks. You saw what they did down in Austin. You know what? They took it all the way. They had a chance on the last play of the game. Now, Dana Holgorsen at West Virginia, something to think about. Over the last 5 years, he's 14 in 16 in second half of the season. It doesn't always kind of peaks. Remember 2012, give Geno the Heisman, and then kind of goes down. But they have a lot to play for now. They're still in this thing. With Oklahoma, with Texas, they can still win the Big 12. So, Mark, Baylor at Mountaineers on Thursday night.
Well, Matt Rule's group played a terrific game against Texas. As you said, they only lost 23-17 in Texas. And I think that was the key that they played in Austin. And he's got to take that and put it on their back and carry that all the way to Morgantown, Virginia. West Virginia is a different team at home, Coach. Will Greer has completed 71% of his passes on the season, has a terrific group of wide receivers and depth at wide receivers. They have 10 players on their roster that averages more than 10 yards per reception. So they're going to throw the ball around. The question about West Virginia is when you get further in the season, when the weather changes, they can't run the ball effectively. And the key of this game, they're going to have to run the football. But I look at their defense. They're still doing a terrific job with Tony Gibson as a coordinator. They're only giving up 20 points per game. That's what's going to hold this score down for Baylor. But I got West Virginia winning 47-31 over Baylor.
Well, West Virginia doesn't play particularly well in the second half of the season, but it's not because of anything except the schedule. That's when they play Oklahoma. That's when they play Texas. That's when they play Oklahoma State. The schedule sort of backloaded for West Virginia. West Virginia played horrendous, and Greer, the quarterback from West Virginia, had a terrible day. They throw the ball an awful lot. They have too many turnovers. But I just believe this, a team that's used to winning, and you get beat like that, you are anxious to redeem yourself. We talked about Ohio State. We talk about upset teams. They bounce back very strong. I look for West Virginia to play a heck of a football game, and I tell you, ladies and gentlemen, Morgantown is a beautiful environment to watch a football game. There's a great environment, the enthusiasm of the fans, and they're so nice and friendly. I look for West Virginia to win this football game. 38-20.
I played there a couple times. Baloney. They're not nice. That's where Jackie Sherrill told us to wear your helmets on the sidelines, even when you're on the sidelines, because guess what? They throw nickels. You want to know why they throw nickels? Because they can't afford to throw quarters in West Virginia. Jackie Sherrill said that. I didn't say that. I'm paraphrasing that.
My home state. I want to tell you.
They throw rocks, they throw nickels, they throw batteries, they throw frozen orange.
Well, Coach and Mark, I will tell you this, 2 things. One, I've been there as a fan wearing the opposing team colors, a lot like Lane Stadium, but you know what? My family and friends in the West Virginia National Guard, there is not a more loyal fan base than the Mountaineers. You know what? Love them or hate them, you know what? They will stand by their team. And Coach, you know what? Maybe they'll start winning those national championships if they get a West Virginia-born coach to stay at home and coach them. So, with that,
that'd be Nick Saban.
There you go.
Nick Saban's from West Virginia.
Well, as I said, we got yourself, we got Nick Saban, we got Jimbo Fisher. Yeah, I'm telling you. So, let's talk about our next game. And our next game is Iowa and the Hawkeyes are going to Penn State. Now, here's the deal. 18 Iowa, 17 Penn State. Mark, what have you heard? They're declaring a whiteout now, aren't they?
No, they're going to need it.
Because you think about Penn State's kind of down, but if you look at the Big Ten West and you look at Iowa, they're right there. They could run the table. They went out. They're going to win this thing. So going to Happy Valley. James Franklin, team's got 2 losses, and you know what? They're tough losses. So, Mark, talk to us. What do you think about this one?
Well, one thing about Iowa is you know you're going to get consistency with them. They're going to play great defense. They're going to run the ball on offense. They're going to throw the ball to their tight ends. That's what they do at Iowa. And if you look at Iowa, their defensive coordinator, Phil Parker's done a terrific job with this defense. They hang in each and every game. They're getting better and better each week offensively. And I'll tell you, look at the numbers for their quarterback, Nate Stanley. He's only completed 61% of his passes, but he's got 16 touchdown passes and 6 interceptions. And he throws the ball to his tight ends, which moves the chains down the field. They'll pound you and run the ball on first down, get it to the tight ends on second down. And if they have to go long with a third down and get it to the wide receivers, that's what they do. They play smart football. They don't turn the ball over. This is one of those games where if you look at Penn State, if they get down in this game, they're going to be pressured and they're going to end up turning the ball over against Iowa. I got Iowa winning this game at Penn State, at the Whiteout, in Happy Valley, 27-20.
Well, I think Penn State has McSorley as an outstanding quarterback. But defensively, Mark, this is not a great Penn State defense. I'm still trying to figure out how Penn State is 70th in the country on amount of yards given up. They're giving up almost 400 yards a game. But they're 30th in the country in scoring defense, which tells me you must be playing great on the goal line. You must be getting some critical turnovers and things along that line. I love Iowa. As a football coach, Iowa does the things that enable you to win the football game. Watching Iowa is like watching paint dry. They aren't very, very exciting. But as you mentioned, Phil Parker is a great defense coordinator. He doesn't get near the credit that he should. He also coaches the defensive backs and does a great job with them. They're great on third down. They're 11th in the country on third down defense. But as you mentioned, Mark, they don't turn the football over. They run the football. They have a good kicking game. They don't have a high-profile recruit. You look at the top 20 recruiting teams in the country every year. I was never one of the top 20. Yet I was always a very, very good football team. Let's give an awful lot of credit to Hayden Fry. He's old-fashioned. We're going to run the ball. We're going to huddle up. We're going to play good defense. I look for Iowa to win at Penn State 24-21, and Iowa should be undefeated. They were leading Wisconsin with maybe 2 minutes to go in the game, and Hornibrook hit the big pass.
Iowa coach Kirk Ferentz is 8-6 against Penn State, and he's 4-3 in Happy Valley against the Nittany Lions. That one's going to be exciting. Our next one, you know, it's 2 unranked teams, but you know what? They're all in the running to win their division championship in the Big Ten West, and that's Purdue. After the big win is going to Michigan State. That game, it will be 67th meeting all the way back to 1918, and Michigan State leads 35-28-3. Now, I said this is a big game right here because Purdue has a chance. Michigan State can't move the ball. We saw that against Michigan. They can play some defense. We'll see where this goes. Mark.
I think Purdue's on a roll. This is a team that's won 4 consecutive games after losing their first 3. You look at DJ Knox, the running back, Rondell Moore, the wide receiver. He's outstanding. Coaches mentioned him before. He can catch it. He can run it. He can play special teams. He's a dynamic player out for the Purdue offense. You look at David Blau, their quarterback, is doing a terrific job of holding the football and not turning it over. I like Purdue to go to Michigan State after the beat down against Michigan and beat Michigan State in Michigan State 26-17, Coach. I got Purdue winning it.
Well, the thing that's underrated about Purdue is their defense. Last week when they were playing Ohio State, I made a comment on this show. Nick Holtz used to be the defense coordinator at Southern Cal. He knows how to attack an offense. You don't have an awful lot to attack against Michigan State when you're 0 for 12 on third down and have less than 100 yards against a great Michigan defense football team. I think Purdue's on the roll. I do not believe that they're going to be looking back all week at Ohio State, patting themselves on the back. They're going to go to class. Everybody's telling them how great they are. What Coach Brom has to do is let them know we're in this race. Well, I don't care about our 3 losses. We have won the conference. We went out. We win the championship. They have a tough road ahead. They got to beat Michigan State, but they also have to beat Iowa and Wisconsin in the future, and they're capable of doing that. I look for Purdue to win this football game over Michigan State 34-17.
34-17, and we have our fourth game is also a Big Ten West eliminator, and we have number 20 Wisconsin at Northwestern. They both have 1 loss in the conference. Here's exciting 100th meeting between these two teams going back to 1890. Wisconsin leads 59-35-5. As we said, the winner is still in the hunt. This is 2 different schools, though. Wisconsin, 43,000 students, Camp Randall Stadium. Northwestern has 8,000 students And you know what? Their stadium, Ryan Field, has 47,000 folks. Different environment right there in Evanston, Illinois. Talk to us, Mark.
One thing about Northwestern, if you look at them, they've been scrappy the last couple of weeks. They've been down in some games. They've come back in the fourth quarter. They found a way to win in the fourth quarter in other games. But if you look at this game against Wisconsin, it's going to be tough for them to win. Alex Winterbrook, their quarterback, is playing better now. Jim Leonard's defense, playing a lot of young players on that side of the ball for Wisconsin. They are getting better. But the key of this game is running back Jonathan Taylor. He's done a terrific job this year. Everybody's been saying, oh, he's had an off year. No, he's rushed for over 1,100 yards this year. He's got 8 rushing touchdowns this year, 6.5 yards per tote. He's going to get the job done. Just hand him the football. They'll grind it out and win this game 38-24 at Northwestern.
I think that Wisconsin is a very, very good football team. Yeah, they did not play very well at Michigan, but by the same token, you mentioned about the great running back. He is outstanding. He's going to maybe approach 2,000 yards again as a sophomore. I think that Northwestern is just a very mediocre football team in every respect. They already have 3 losses. They lose to Wisconsin before. They're going to lose to Notre Dame, will be 5. Now they're going to have to fight to get to a bowl game. So when you look at it down the line, I think that Northwestern will lose this football game to Wisconsin by a score of 34-20, and it may not be that close. But Wisconsin just is not as good this year as they were last year, predominantly because of their defense. They only had 3 starters back on defense. As Mark said, they're starting to play a little bit better, but they will not be that challenged against Northwestern. Although Northwestern has a great receiver in Flynn, they have a very, very good quarterback that's thrown for 2,000 yards, so they can make it competitive, but there's no way they beat Wisconsin.
Coach, as you know, the Fighting Pat Fitzgeralds of Northwestern try to play some physical football. But you know who else does? Is our 5th game, the number 12 Kentucky Wildcats. You know what? Number 1 defense in the country. They're stingy. Josh Allen, Cash Daniel. I mean, they are just, they play some defense. Problem is you also got to play offense, and they just hand it to number 26. They're playing at Missouri. And probably, I would almost call this the biggest game in school history. Do you know why? Because if you win it, you go play Georgia the following week at home. Playing Drew Lock, big, strong quarterback everybody thinks is going to go to the NFL next year. This is only the 9th meeting between these two. Goes back to 1965. UK's 5-3 on this one. So, Mark, are they going to think about Georgia, or are they going to take care of business and bring it back to Lexington for the big showdown on the 3rd?
Let me see. Missouri just came off a victory over Memphis, scoring 65 points. Drew Lock was outstanding. They threw the ball, they ran the ball. I think the Cinderella season is over for Kentucky. I got off the bandwagon last week, and I was almost correct. If you look at Missouri's defense, they will put 8 or 9 in the box to stop Benny Snell Jr. And if you have to throw the ball, this is an offense. They completed 3 passes last week. That won't get it done against Missouri. Drew Lock's completed 71% of his passes on the season. Missouri will roll at home, and this will end for Kentucky ugly, 42-17.
I think it's a perfect matchup for a game. When you look at Kentucky, very good on defense, run the ball on offense. You look at Missouri, they're a very explosive offensive team, but let's look at their defense. They're very good against the run, they're very bad against the pass. So you have the strength of your defense going up against the strength of Kentucky's offense and vice versa. I think the fact that it is at home. And one thing I used to tell our football team, gentlemen, every time you win a football game, that makes the next game more important. The reason this Missouri game is so big is they beat Vanderbilt. The reason the Vanderbilt game was so big is they won the week before. If they win at Missouri, that makes a Georgia game really huge. Then if they beat Georgia, eventually the next game becomes even more important. So despite all the motivation Kentucky has, I hate to be a doomsayer. It's been a wonderful year for Kentucky. They've done a great job, but I don't believe they went on the road at Missouri.
Well, Coach, I'm a native of the Commonwealth. Got to pull for the Big Blue because you know what? They've never had a season like this.